Hi, hello, welcome everyone. This is Charlene of Angel Hack, the organizing team of the Hello Future Hackathons. And we are excited to welcome you once again to our fourth workshop of the Hedera Apex Hackathon, which runs from 17th February to 23rd of March. And welcome to the week two of the hacking period. Many of you are aiming for the share of the 250,000 prize pool while seizing the amazing opportunity to present your projects to Hedera and its ecosystem partners. Keep up the great work, guys, okay? With a prize pool this big and such a strong ecosystem support, it's no wonder the Apex Hackathon became one of the most anticipated Hedera hackathons of 2026, and we're excited to see the amazing projects you'll create. But it's not just about the prizes. This hackathon is powered by an incredible lineup of partners, including AWS, Neuron, Hashgraph Online, Bonzo, and Hyro, all bringing their expertise and support to help you build something truly impactful. Now, without further ado, I'm thrilled to introduce today's speaker and mentor, Michael Kantor from Hashgraph Online, and he'll guide us through Hashgraph's online skill level knowledge that we all need to know, especially if we are tackling Hashgraph Online's bounty statement. And it's going to show you how to register and build a useful AI agent in the HOL Registry Broker. A common question for me, Charlene, can I participate only in the Hashgraph Online Bounty without joining the main tracks of Apex? The answer is yes. You can focus solely on the Hashgraph Online's bounty if you like. But of course, you're also still welcome to submit for the main tracks as well. Okay, so Hashgraph Online Bounty offers 8,000 prize pool plus 100K HOL points, right? So it's a great opportunity to explore. Now, for questions and follow-up, please feel free to ask questions during this session by typing in this live chat. We'll address them at the end if time permits. If your question comes later, that's completely fine, okay? So please fill out the form I'm about to share right now on the screen. And of course, please catch us on Discord. We will always be there and you can contact us directly. Okay, now I'll hand over things to Michael to kick off the workshop. Michael, the stage is yours. Take it away.
Hey, hi everyone. It's Michael Kantor, president of Hashgraph Online. Who's ready to learn how you can get a chance to win from an $8,000 bounty, the HOL track, and also win from a pool of $250,000 from the Apex Hackathon. Today, we're going to be covering the HOL Registry Broker, which is a big part of this bounty. We're going to cover the thesis of why we've built the service, what you can do on Hedera using the Hyro consensus specifications, and how that all ties into a really great hackathon experience on Hedera. Before we jump into that, just a little bit about myself. My name, again, is Michael Kantor. I've been building in the Hedera ecosystem for over 4 years. I've been in the crypto ecosystem for a decade now. And I've been in software for, I think, going on 17 years at this point. So it's been a really long time deep in the industry. So anything that you hear today is based off my insights and experiences in the industry and where I see things are going as a whole. At Hashgraph Online, obviously, we're very, very much involved in the AI vertical. We create AI specifications and tools, and we're a consortium of some of the leading companies within the Hedera ecosystem through our DAO. Our members include esteemed companies such as Hashpack, Neuron, Bonzo Finance, Builder Labs, and more. And through this, we are working on creating the new agentic internet, which sounds really massive. And a lot of times when we describe this, we say things like, well, in order to create the new agentic internet, we kind of had to reinvent it, and we kind of have to rebuild everything from scratch, including the entire universe. Through this process, we've created something called the HOL Registry Broker. We're looking at the research and where the industry is going, and we're seeing a world where there's probably going to be billions, if not trillions, of AI agents. It's not going to come today or tomorrow, but soon. Right now, we're very much relying on large language models, but there's a lot of research that's happening by big AI lab companies, for example, like Liquid Nanos and so forth, that are exploring, hey, if we can get these models to run on lower compute devices like phones and laptops eventually, and we can make that cost effective, then that'll be great, because users from day one, they won't have to depend on token costs. They'll be able to use local models to get more privacy in using inference. And we'll have a lot more accessibility for AI to the larger population. That would be the dream and goal. And when this happens, naturally, every single person on the planet will have access to run and operate their own AI agent. When you get to a scale of billions, if not trillions of AI agents, what does that mean? And how will these things connect and talk to each other? And that's what we're building on top of the High-Road consensus service, the HOL Registry Broker. So what does the HOL Registry Broker do? At a high level, it enables you to chat to any agent on the planet, regardless of the protocol. So you might have heard of protocols like A2A and MCP. Those are already two diverse protocols and ways that agents can talk to each other. But there's so much more, right? There are protocols like XMTP, for example, that enable completely private chats between agents. You have P2P as well. You have many communication protocols that have been built over the years, maybe even simple ones like JSON RPC. And through these agents will have to be able to talk to each other. And there'll be reasons why these agents all use different and diverse communication protocols, so usually around regulatory compliance or tech stack. With these agents and with the registry broker, you'll have integration between different agent registries and marketplaces. You might not know what a registry is, but at a high level, it's somewhere where you can take an agent and put it, right? So that could be an API. It could be a smart contract like ERC 8004. It could be the consensus service on Hedera like OpenConvey. So with the registry broker, we work on adapters, and we will enable support for these brokers so that they can find and connect and talk to each other. Agents that are registered in the broker also get completely private end-to-end chat that's encrypted by their own private key. And these chats can be configured to disappear at the time to live that you specify. So for example, a default is like 24 hours. You can make it smaller than that. So you have these short-lived chat windows for your agents to privately talk and communicate with each other. Today, we have integrated with popular registries like ERC 8004, A2A, MCP, Virtuals, and more. Every day, we work with new partners, and we onboard their technical integrations, registries, and communication protocols to enable the registry broker to facilitate more communication between agents anywhere on the planet. So that's a high level into the registry broker. An even simpler way to put it, HOL is building the international railroad to connect every agent everywhere between Web 2 and Web 3 ecosystems. While Web 3 has a great amount of adoption in terms of where AI agents is going, it's not the only kind of adoption. We're seeing huge inroads from the Web 2 industry. It's catching up on registries. Admittedly, I think Web 2 with registries and agents is moving a little bit slower, but mostly because of the courtesy to be careful, right? But we're seeing adoption in areas like ANS, the Agent Name Service, but GoDaddy, Agency with Cisco, and Nanda, which just spun off from MIT, right? And there's more and more of these registries, and I suspect that every single company on the planet will probably have their own private AI registry. And every single employee at these companies will probably have 2 or 3 AI agents that they operate. And through an HOL registry broker, they'll be able to communicate and talk to each other. The cool thing about the HOL registry broker is that the idea is not that we put all these AI agents in a single bucket, right? You're talking about a scale of billions, if not trillions. The HOL registry broker is actually a 2 of 3 consensus, and there will be many brokers. So you can imagine a world where you have some of these registry brokers that subscribe to AI agents that pull down medical data, right? And that registry broker might be governed by a consortium of hospitals. It'll have a 2 of 3 consensus, it'll have accreditations and things like that. You might have another registry broker that only pulls down AI agents on Hedera, right? And somebody goes and they query the registry broker with medical agents, and they say, hey, I'm looking for finance agents. And that registry broker responds and says, well, don't have those agents, but my buddy down the street over there from Hedera, they actually do. So like a typical mesh net would, just bounces you over to the right place, and that's where you can go and find those AI agents. So that's what we mean by connecting all the agents around the planet. You don't want to put them all in one bucket, because at a level of scale that involves billions and trillions, it doesn't really work. And you need consensus so that you can get a nice distributed load and you can understand where all the agents are anywhere on the planet, even if they're distributed between many nodes, right? So in this world, there could be hundreds, maybe even thousands of different registry brokers that are out there that contain agents that you can talk to and find and discover. And in front of this will be a really neat routing system. So that's a bit about the HOL Registry Broker. At a high level, agents, they need to talk to each other between different protocols. For example, you can have an A to A agent that talks to an agent on ACP. And without a way to conveniently translate those requests, those communications would fail, right? So through the HOL Registry Broker, we're able to translate A to A using ACP's task protocol, so that these agents can go and conveniently execute on-chain tasks in a whole different network. That's what we mean by being an international world, or a universal babel of communication between all these different AI agents. Additionally, before, you might have agents that only take USDC through X4L2, and you'd have agents on the other side that only take USD through a credit card, and they have no way of talking to each other. Through the HOL Registry Broker, we also translate payment requests so that these agents can communicate, transact, and execute commerce seamlessly, so that they can go and complete tasks for their owners in real time. So the broker is this universal layer of commerce as well as communication. So how can you start building in the HOL Registry Broker? If you're watching this live, or if you watch this tutorial later on after the stream is over, you'll notice that we do have this little QR code here at the top. I do recommend right now, if you're watching this live, go scan that QR code and take a look. That'll take you straight to hol.org/registry/docs. On our docs, you'll find a bunch of guides and tutorials, and especially if you're using agents like OpenClaw, this will be really easy for you to start adopting immediately, okay? So there's kind of two pathways here. And later on, if we have time, I'll also share my screen, and I'll showcase the guides page to give you some insights into that as well. Sorry. So there's two lines where you can kind of get started. We do recommend, hey, if you're already running OpenClaw on your system, and again, really important. I mean, we did a stream, I think it was a few weeks ago with Jake around OpenClaw. Just make sure you're doing it securely. Your OpenClaw ideally is not running on your main system. It's maybe running on a VPS for $5 a month, or maybe you're putting it on another device. I don't necessarily think you need to buy a whole Mac Mini to do it, because most OpenClaw agents actually run on LLMs. So if you're using something like Claude or ChatGPT, you don't need to shell out $1,000 for a new piece of hardware. You can use a VPS or a really, really cheap laptop to run your OpenClaw. It doesn't need much compute at all. Now, say you've got your OpenClaw up. The only thing you need to do is send your OpenClaw our official skill. If you go to that docs page that's in the QR code, you'll find a link to that. There's a Skill MD tab. Just click that. Copy the link, and then there's a bunch of prompts that you can send your OpenClaw agent so you can get started immediately. Once you send the Skill MD to your OpenClaw, just tell it to register itself and chat with other agents. And don't worry if this is a lot to follow. I'm going to go into detail for all these steps. This is just a high-level overview. The step that I kind of forgot here is you do have to go into the dashboard and grab either an API key, or if you have a Hedera private key, you can just skip that part immediately. Through your Hedera private key, you can automatically generate an API key and get credits and so forth. So if you're in the Hedera ecosystem, this is the most simple pathway for you to get started immediately, where you don't need to log in anywhere or generate an API key. Just use your Hedera private key and you're off to the races. It's pretty cool, right? Next, if you don't want to go the OpenClaw route and you want to create an SDK integration directly, what you can do instead is you can use our standards SDK, which gets over 2,000 weekly downloads and is widely adopted. And you can call an SDK function called register agent to register your agent. And then you can use our search API to find agents and send them messages in real time. So that's a high-level overview. Now we're going to go off the deep end and get into details here. So first step, let's get an API key. When you go to that QR code on the page, there is a tab on the page that also says API keys and credits. You click API keys and credits, and then there's a button that says to generate a new API key. Just an FYI, if you're watching this video and you're thinking that you can just copy the API key on my screen, this is obviously a fake API key. See ABC_QWERTY. It will not work in production. You do have to scan the QR code and generate one. The API keys by default will not charge you unless you have credits. And we have very, very generous free tiers. So you can search any agent on the registry for free and use that inside of your applications. If you're building something with our search API, we just ask that you shout us out or give us a credit on the website. That'd be highly appreciated. But you can use a search API for free. You can also register 5 agents as long as they're not getting registered in ERC 8004 for free. And you have a pretty generous chat tier as well. So you can send, I think, like 300-400 messages or something like that to other agents. Again, as long as there's no on-chain cost component, just egress, then you can use that for free as well. Especially if you're demoing or you're getting ready for the Apex hackathon, this free tier is really useful, especially for this track, right? Okay, so you've got your API key. What's next? With your OpenClaw agent, again, this is what I mean. You go to the docs page. There are 4 tabs. One of them is that SkillMD tab. Just click that SkillMD tab, and then you can go and send them the file. Just say, hey, look at this skill. I'd like for you to register on the HOL registry. Make sure that your OpenClaw agent has a Hedera private key or an API key from the broker, and then you're off to the races. It should be able to figure everything out very quickly, especially if you're using any of the latest models, Sonnet 4.6, ChatGPT 5.2, 5.3, or Gemini 3.1, you should be fine. Shouldn't run into any issues, and we've tested this quite end to end. This is the easiest pathway to getting set up in the broker and then having your OpenClaw essentially run itself within the registry. And you can see that we have all these example prompts. You'll find that again in that SkillMD tab. For example, use a SkillMD, and I want to register myself in the registry broker. Use this profile payload. Before submission, validate the fields are correct, then register the agent, return the UAID, or find the top 5 agents for this task. For each result, return their name, their trust score, and protocols. We have one to resolve agent details and one to start chat sessions. So your OpenClaw agent should, in theory, be able to find, talk, and chat with other OpenClaw or just AI agents in general using the registry broker. So already, I hope, as you're watching this, you can see, okay, there's a lot of cool things that I can do inside the HOL registry broker that are possible using the SkillMD, which is powered by a CLI. That's all open source, or standards SDK. And here we go. Next. Now, let's say that you wanted to go and get some credits, and you're kind of ready to go to the next step of setting up an SDK or more technical integration. Inside the portal, you can get credits in one of 2 ways. Again, the Discovery API for search is always free to use. And you get 5 free registrations, and there's a bunch of messages that you can send. You can get those credits with a credit card, HBAR preferably, or an EVM wallet. With HBAR, again, if you're building a technical integration and you're using the standards SDK, or if you're using the CLI, if you've got your PK set up, then you can automatically top up your credits and you don't have to worry about going into the portal at all. It just happens automatically for you as long as you have an HBAR balance and you automatically configure it to approve purchases. So now setting up the SDK, this is the fun part. Number one, you will have to install the standards SDK. So that would just be pmpmi at Hashgraph Online / Registry Broker at standards SDK. If you don't remember that, or you don't want to copy code, again, scan the QR code, look for the guide for the install steps, or send it to your OpenClaw agent and tell them to install the standards SDK from Hashgraph Online, and you'll be off to the races pretty quickly. So once you have the standards SDK set up, again, if you're in Hedera, simplest way, pull down your account ID, your private key, and pop it into the registration auto top-up configuration. And once that's in there, then you'll be able to automatically purchase credits and generate an API key. Alternatively, you can also create a new registry broker client using your API key from the portal. In the screenshot, the base URL is set, but you don't have to put that at all. If you'd like to avoid it, just make the configuration a little bit neater. And there's also support for EVM keys, but again, we prefer an HBAR wallet or using the API key directly, just be a little bit more seamless. So the way that it kind of works once you set up your Hedera private key is that you can set up a minimum floor of how many credits you want and how much you'd like to automatically top up when your credit balance starts to get low. If you're worried, just put like a little bit amount of HBAR on that account, especially at automation. That's one thing that we kind of preface, like, hey, this agent, once you set it up, especially through OpenClaw, it'll be running autonomously, and it will be talking, exchanging values, a possibility that it goes through your entire HBAR balance eventually. So we recommend that you set up your AI agent with its own account that's separate from your main account, and ensure that it doesn't have access to any other PKs, right? Because we all know that ChatGPT or Claude might get a little bit creative and think, well, this PK is out, maybe I can use a different account to go on top of my balance. Just trying to be helpful. So again, sidewall your AI agent in its own infrastructure and its own server, so it doesn't have access to any other keys than the one that you provided, and set your balance to an amount that you're comfortable with, that your agent might potentially lose, right? I think that's a big thing with security and AI agents and the Web3 ecosystem especially. If you give it a private key that has access to all of your savings, then that is a terrible idea. I'd say that, quite frankly. Give it an amount that you're comfortable with using and building business or operations around. Do not give it your full balance and portfolio. Just give it what it needs so that it can do the tasks that you're comfortable with. And if it needs more, then you can send it more over time, but don't give it the entire portfolio from day one. Next, once you've set up your SDK client, you can go and register your agent. So registration and profiles in the HOL Registry Broker are powered by HCS 11, which is a specification that we wrote for a decentralized agent and human profiles. You can learn more about that on hol.org, on the decentralized profile standard on our website. That's the best way to kind of learn how it works. But at a very, very high level, HCS 11, what it does is it takes your profile information for your agent, like its name, its bio, what models and capabilities it's using, and it puts them entirely on chain through HCS 11. So your agent will get its own memo field, it'll get an HCS1 file that has its bio, and anyone can go and verify that from now on because it's stored through consensus. And again, this is the main benefit of DLT and blockchain, is that you have nodes all around the planet that all agree on the same state. So in my example here, we've got a Ledger Guard agent with automated treasury monitoring, and its model is set to GPT-4o Mini. It has two capabilities for security monitoring and compliance. The capabilities you can also include and support any from the OSAF, from agency that open source project Cisco is working on. So there's thousands of different capabilities that you can map out to inside of your profile. Once you feel comfortable and it's okay, this is my profile, you call the register agent function, and that will register you into the HOL Registry Broker. So that'll make your agent available inside the broker, and it'll start to get indexed and pulled in. The last next step, is to use the search API. So with, we'll use the search API to go and create sessions and then send messages. So through the search API, the way it kind of works, and this is an example here. We've pulled down a hard-coded UA. But what you can also do is you can go and use the search API to pull down different agents through the search request. Again, the search API is free to use, so you can pull down any information that you'd like, any agents from different verticals and platforms. And then you can check their trust score to see if their availability works. You can also sort by agents to have availability. And then you go and you create a session. When you create a session, you can define how long the history will live. So that's really important. You can set any time that you want. The longer timeline will cost slightly more credits as well. But what it means is that if I set the history TTL to 60, which is 1 minute, that means every minute, then the entire history of that chat will just disappear. And no one will have access to it anymore between those two agents. This is great for privacy use cases where you define your own kind of session timeline for how long you'd like it to live. Personally, I think 60 seconds might be a little bit too small. I would say set it to a day or a few hours, whatever you're comfortable with. Once you've created your session with a specific agent, you can start sending them messages immediately. So the UA example that we had up there, and it's truncated a little bit, was Claude 4.5 Sonnet. And the prompt that we're sending is to summarize its capabilities. So essentially, you'll be able to read that response back eventually, and you'll be able to see what capabilities does that agent have. Once the session gets too long, you can call the compact history endpoint with the session ID, and you can shrink it so that it fits into your context window a little bit better. But again, at the TTL, those messages will also get erased. And then you can see the summary. The compact history endpoint will actually compact as any AI inference endpoint would kind of work. So it takes the main contents, it summarizes it, and then it provides it back to your agent so that it can fit into your context window a little bit better. You can use that at any point in the conversation that you'd like. So that was a high level into the technicals of how you go and actually build and deploy your agent. Now we're going to go into some examples, and I'm going to switch my screen over to our API documentation, which is a little bit more in detail. And again, if you see this QR code up here at the top, you can scan that and you can start looking at this. So let me go and switch my share screen now to our website. There we go. Fermin, if you could pull that share screen up, or Sherilyn, thank you. Thanks, guys. So again, this is our official documentation. It's at hol.org/registry/docs. You can find, number one, if you are a big API nerd, you could just click Run in Postman, and you can pull down our entire API docs that way. Also, I'm noticing that the screen is a little bit displaying a little bit weird. If there's a way to make it full screen. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so you can click that Run in Postman button, and that'll have the full Open API specs. You can start just messing around with API endpoints. You could pass that to your agent, and you can come up with some creative ways to go and use the registry broker. Now, I'm going to jump more into docs and some of the other functionalities that you can do here through the registry broker. Before I do that, I do want to just briefly talk about some ideas or things that you can build during the hackathon, especially for this bounty. Again, with the bounty, there's $8,000 in prizes, plus we're giving away 100,000 HOL points. 100,000 HOL points will help you land you on the top of the HOL leaderboard, which should be really, really cool, right? I do see, there's some comments in the chat. For an AI-powered meter verification plus transparent billing, what's the best HCS structure for high-volume consumer logs per privacy or one global index topic? That's a really great question. Number one, first thing to remember, anything you put on the consensus service will be there forever through block nodes and mirror nodes. So you want to be really careful, especially with regulatory compliance, and not put anything that shouldn't be there, because it's going to be immutable. We've built standards to make things mutable, but they're only mutable in the sense of how the specification operates. They're still going to be there on the mirror node no matter what. So definitely recommend you to be careful there. Now, that being said, for transparent billing or meter verification, we've created a specification called HCS2, which is registries. And you can find that on our website if you go under developers and then you click data registries. The standard is documented here, and then you can go in the SDK and you can start using it. What data registries do, HCS2, is it's kind of like a Merkle-like DAG, where, or maybe even a simpler way to put it, is it's kind of like a navigation bar where you have a nested level structure. So you can have that infinitely loop essentially, and you can create registries of registries of registries. The HOL Registry Broker is actually built on top of HCS2 for AI agents. So is OpenConvey for agent-to-agent communication. So what I would generally recommend is you have like a top level registry where you index the main piece of data, and then you have in that top level messages. Those messages can reference another topic. For example, each meter, you can have a separate topic in that meter. You report the billing or the actions that happen. You can even nest this another level if you need to, if there's like an extra nested structure. But HCS2 is definitely the way to go. For privacy, again, you might want to consider off-chain. You could consider on-chain encryption using your PK to go and encrypt things. But it's a little bit risky, because if we end up in a post-quantum world or somebody gets access to those PKs, they can always decrypt it. So anything you put on chain, even if it's encrypted, assume that there is a risk of it being decrypted eventually. Maybe more likely if the PK gets leaked, but you do have to take precautions there. William, I see another question you asked. So will the AI agent be able to automatically, permanently keep important information until it's not anymore relevant? Yeah, exactly. So through the HOL Registry Broker, using the chat endpoint, the history is truncated at the TTL that you specify. So if you want to create an AI agent that essentially, it's talking to another agent, you've created a session, you only want it to last for a couple of hours, boom, it'll get truncated immediately after. Thanks, guys. Any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll be checking them as I know we've got about 20 minutes here, but I will be checking them over time. Next, so in the Registry Broker guides, you will find a ton of documentation. We've got everything covered here, from encryption to skill publishing. There's so much that you can do with the HOL Registry Broker. If you're starting your journey, I recommend, again, installation and setup. Download the Hashgraph Online Standards SDK. There's a command here that you can run, and some environment configuration that we recommend. These are the same examples that we had in the workshop earlier. Basically, just pop in your PK, create the broker client, and now you're off to the races. Oh, also, you can add in an app ID here in the headers. Eventually, we're going to have analytics that you can use to kind of see how things are going with your agents. And if you don't want to use an API key, just call authenticate with ledger credentials, and you'll be automatically off to your PK. There's a guide here for registering your agents. You can go through that. This is kind of like the one-shot tutorial. Create your client, create a profile, send over your payload, get a quote, and then boom, call register agent, you're off to the races. At that point, your agent should be in the broker. Again, passes over to your open call, and it'll probably be way faster. I saw a question come up. This is awesome, and it also supports X4L2. That is correct. It does. So if you go into our guides, you can see how to set up X4L2. This might not be the right one here, but we do have X4L2 support. It's in here somewhere. Under payments, where are you? Let me refresh. And the way that it kind of works is, let's see. Maybe we're missing it from the docs. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so you can purchase credits with X4L2 with any EVM-based wallet. And you can also, when you're chatting, you can set X4L2 requests as well. That's the guide over here. It's somewhere in here. There we go. X4L2 paid chats. So some registries like the X4L2 Bazaar or ERC 8004, they have listings that support an X4L2 payment. And we have a lot of demos in the standards SDK where you can see examples of this. But you can see, like, so you can buy credits with X4L2, or you can send a paid message. Let's say that you're sending a message to a agent that requires payment before talking to them. The send message function, which you're using anyway to talk, will automatically abstract that for you. So that way you're building an agent, accepts X4L2 payment. Then when you're sending a message, every message will get billed at whatever the cost is for that agent. And this works with ERC 8004, virtuals, and more. And if there's specific use cases that you guys have, let us know. You can reach us on Telegram or Twitter, or send us a DM, and we can consider expanding that functionality even more. But the idea is that it's kind of like an automatic system. That agent requires you to send a payment for messages or whatever the specific request is, gets abstracted and pays automatically without you having to do anything special, right? And that's kind of the goal with these agentic payment systems, is to make them as easy as possible. I see another question. How about privacy option layer 2 there? Will they ever have an option to run these on a privacy safe environment, chain options, and command in layer 1 when it's safe to be on chain? So what you can do, and we'd love to see this during the bounty, we've created a specification called appnets. So appnets are a way to essentially create a decentralized consensus. Or registry broker is actually built on top of appnets as well. And you can have these work around in a way where, one, all the messages inside of the appnet are encrypted. And two, you can keep some of those messages off-chain. Essentially, you can have a 2 or 3 consensus between multiple accounts that could do computation, execution, governance, shared treasuries, and things like that. It's a cool way for maybe you want to run an agent as an appnet. We have some examples on our website for a price oracle that we built in this way and other things. So appnets would probably be one way of exploring. I wouldn't exactly call it a layer 2. It is leveraging HCS, but you can build privacy into it if you don't want to put some stuff on chain. Another question from Marcella: is Hedera exploring or developing any initiatives related to quantum computing? There was a really great talk that Lehman did at Hedera Dev Day. I'm sure it's going to be on YouTube at some point. I recommend listening to that. From what I understand, with quantum, that's something that they're exploring, and it'll be opt-in and kind of like a switch that they can make inside the system. Again, I don't work for Hedera, and I don't know exactly what plans the Labs Co has around quantum, but Lehman did speak about it publicly at Hedera Dev Day, and it seems like Hedera will be able to mitigate any effects of the post-quantum world. Coming back to the docs again, keep the questions coming, guys. If you've got more, this is the place to ask. with the chats, another cool feature that we have is we have an XMCP integration and agent feedback. So if you want to submit feedback to an agent through ERC 8004, there is a way to check feedback and submit feedback directly to the SDK. That's a pretty cool method. We also have encrypted chat. Through encrypted chat, you can ensure that your chat is completely private between you and the participant, and you can go and accept that conversation and start it with PKs on both sides. This does require that both agents are registered in the HOL Registry Broker, but we'd love to see privacy-focused solutions built on top of the Registry Broker as part of the bounty as well. That would be very cool. So take a look at our encrypted chat guide on how you facilitate that. I saw a lot of questions in the chat around privacy and encryption. So these would be very cool use cases that you can build on top of the Registry Broker using encryption. And if you look at our standards SDK, we have like 15 plus demos. The encrypted chat demo would be the way to go if you want to start exploring that. Another cool feature that I do want to cover is recently we added a trustless skills registry. So if your agent has skills like ours, our official skills published on this trustless skills registry itself, you just go into browse skills here, and you can find a bunch of trustless skills. So these are skill MD files that are protected through consensus, and you can find how to read that skill and the entire steps. So our Registry Broker skill, we've actually kind of dog-fed through this process, so you can find the actual skill file itself is on the trustless skill registry. And what that means is that the skill itself and all of its files, which you can see here, are stored entirely on the consensus service, including the CLI itself, which is really cool. References and other files, they're all stored 100% on chain. So if your agent needs skills or you're creating skills, we recommend going to skills registry and clicking upload skill to create one. I think this is a really, really cool feature. And again, during the hackathon or the bounty, we'd love to see people exploring it wider. See, oh yeah, Furman, I've covered those questions. Thank you. Yeah, so through the skills registry, go upload and scribe your skills. They just cost credits, very, very minimal amount, because the consensus service is quite cheap. And it's all built around our HCS1 inscriptions and other services. Coming back to our docs, so you can very easily go and install the SDK through that install step, register from this guide over here, and then you can start messing around with search and discovery. Our search, again, it covers every single major registry in the ecosystem. We already have over 100,000 agents that are indexed through HOL Registry Broker. You can call the search endpoint, pick which registries you want to search from, sort it, and then when you have that agent, you can go and talk to it using the chat endpoint. So I think from a large level, this is kind of like the most important features. I would say set up the SDK, find agents through search API, and then use the chat API to talk to them. You can build a lot of really, really cool solutions by combining all of these elements together. I think that's, basically it. I don't know, Charlene, if you want to come back up here and we can close out. But I do want to say thank you to everyone for coming and joining us and listening to this workshop. Again, $250,000 in prizes from the Apex Hackathon, $8,000 from this bounty, and 100,000 HOL points you can get on the HOL leaderboard. So lots of reasons for you to get involved and win this hackathon.
Wonderful. Wow. Thank you so much for that, Michael. And I cannot believe how much people I'm seeing right now on our live stream on YouTube. It's 103 people, but there are more on our Twitter and LinkedIn, which I would be able to know later. From Famin. All right, but thank you, everyone. This is such a healthy kind of conversation in our discussion, right? You can see that we have a lot of sensible and thoughtful question that has been asked to Michael, and I believe that he also enjoyed it. So, everyone, I know that this is quite a short workshop, and we really hope that we have a longer time to answer your questions. However, time is really flying so fast. So, what we can do is, okay, I'll paste it here once again. If you have any questions, I will send it to Michael and then I will email you guys with his answer. So I believe to some of you who might have asked us questions during the AMAs, or you have put up your question into an AMA form, you would know that I am emailing you with the answers of our mentors. So you can trust me with that. All right, so here is the form, and I will deliver it probably to Michael, and then I will send you his answers once it is available. And then please catch Michael as well. He is our mentor, partner mentor, during our mentors hours on March 9 and March 12. And that will be a great time for you to have a conversation with him. So the best thing about the mentor office hours is you will have an exclusive one-on-one conversation with him. But of course, you would need to be talking to him like around 5 to 10 minutes, maybe until 12 minutes, to give way for others who also want to talk to him. I know he's popular, so give some time to our colleagues, okay? All right, but before I end this session, if you plan to tackle Bonzo's bounty statement, which will be by next week, I would want to invite you and your team to join us on Monday, 2nd of March, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, to listen and learn from Gaurang, the co-founder and CEO of Bonzo. So I'll also leave the link here just in case you wanted to attend on Monday, but definitely this will be posted on our Discord. So please don't forget to tune in on Discord. All the announcements will be there, right? Okay, and also a quick reminder, next week from March 2 to 6, we've got back-to-back workshops and AMA sessions all designed to give you the support you need throughout the hackathon. Lastly, there will be a Hedera community call. There, they are going to recap about Hedera Dev Day and East Denver Hackathon. How exciting is that? And it is actually to avoid any FOMO, fear of missing out, you might felt from the event. So please join. And here's the link for you to join. There's quite a lot of link that I've shared. Hopefully you're all keeping up. It's just here, okay? So the dev call will be happening 11 a.m. Eastern time. So please join. All right. So we still have a bit of time, Michael. I wanted to ask if you have any closing remarks for our participants. It's a lot.
Yeah. Number one, thanks again, Charlene, for organizing this. It's been great. I think from a large focal point, just zooming out, we are entering the most important injunction in society through the facilitation of AI. AI is transforming everything really, really fast. And that also means for participation in hackathons like this, if you are hesitant or you feel like you have imposter syndrome, don't. You, through AI, using tools like Codex, Claude, Cursor, etc., you can start developing platforms without really having a strong technical understanding, and you can build something for this hackathon. It's all about what you can imagine and what you can create and deliver. There's no better time to do it than during the Apex hackathon. You've got a few weeks to enter, which, you know, from a high level, if you've got good ideas and you can assemble the right team, you do have a chance of winning in this hackathon, or maybe winning this bounty that we have going on, or some of the other partners like Neuron or Bonzo or AWS. Lots and lots of opportunities. The last thing you want to do is let them slide by, right? And from a wider note, AI is just transforming every single industry as it is today. If you're not keeping up, you're not educating yourself, then you're leaving a lot of opportunities at the door. And I just recommend that you get involved and participate as much as you can. Participation is rewarded at every single inch. In open source projects, it's a great way to get involved just by contributing, right? So I hope to see some of you deliver some really cool solutions around the High-Road consensus specifications, which are now part of the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust through High-Road. It's very, very cool. And from the agentic side, there's so many cool solutions that need to be solved, and I can't wait to see all of them.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Michael. I believe that there will be a lot of people. I can see a lot of registrations already. And guys, we are waiting for your innovation and we're waiting for your solution. Okay, come and join our hackathon. So how to join? If you see our screen right here, we have a QR code on top of Michael. Okay, so you just need to scan that. It will direct you to our hackathon. So the hackathon, you can participate on our main tracks. You can also participate solely on the bounty if you really just want to focus on that. No problem. All right. So see you again, everyone, next week, March 2. But then, okay, just like what I've shared a while ago, you can join the dev call of our community in Hedera, and then you can know what has happened during the ETH Denver and Hedera Dev Day. All right. See you once again, guys, and have a good one, everyone. Goodbye.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.